Yo, sup traders, how y'all doing? I'm up late and I'm gonna give you guys a quick market report coming into Friday's non-farm payroll. But one thing that we're seeing right now is a sell-off of the Japanese stock market and futures of the indices, the Nasdaq, the Russell, the Dow Jones, and S&P 500 are set up to gap down into the open. Doesn't mean that they'll close down, but they're set to open down. Now, at the same time, Bitcoin and ETH have been going down and had a pretty sharp dump. Now, I noticed a lot of people on Twitter calling specifically for 44K, which is so far away. Like we're gonna be there imminently and just fall through this area. I don't really see it. I'm not saying that we don't go to 44K or 40K at some point, but the idea that we're just going to fall through and go there right away seems ridiculous to me. It seems ridiculous to me because, for one, on this move down, on ETH, okay, funding is predicted to be pretty low, but not necessarily negative. But funding on Bitcoin has gone low and predicted to be negative by this measure. And we also look at CoinGlass. If we look to see what happened on this move down, funding is close to negative and it did indeed go negative. So what does that mean? It means down here, right as price took the low, traders were net short here. And the idea was we lose this level, we're just going to go all straight to 44K, which is insane. Um, Instead, we have a swing failure. Now, is a swing failure a great setup here? Not necessarily. Why? Because we have one swing failure. We have two swing failures. This one was a front run. We have three. And we have four. And then of the major level, we have five. This is the sixth one. Doesn't feel great to trade the sixth one, but here's the thing, is when people give up and don't want to try anymore and start flipping short, that's when things can have a sustained move up. Because by the time funding is normalized, price might be way up here. Now again, I might wake up and price is lower, but the idea that it has to go to 44K and cannot bounce on the way, that it will not bounce at 54 and it wouldn't bounce at 52, it's sort of ridiculous. And also when you look at the funding from a little bit of a higher time frame, it has the markings of a major bottom as we've had negative funding on basically every move down, including this one, which is what it looks like when you have a major market bottom, right? So again, we may just go lower. One thing that I think is a possibility is maybe price action like this. I think this would be the worst case for bulls, would be this sort of a thing where funding is going negative, but it pumps and price just kind of dies off. So I think that's possible. And what that would look like was this little area of price action here, where price is chopping, sweeping, swing failures, and then just breaks down. It's a little bit different though, because it's also could look like this maybe, where we put in a big wick and get a partial move and a failed breakout, and then slowly bleed. It looks quite a bit different though with the choppy swing failures we have. And also just knowing that the market is different here. And this really sharp downtrend, we had the collapse of Luna. We had 3 Hours Capital getting liquidated. We had a hunt on Michael Saylor. Who else went belly up? Genesis. A lot of crypto hedge funds blew up, and they didn't really come back. Instead, what we have is ETF, and locally recently the ETF has actually been net outflows, but for the most part it means a reduction of leverage and more of a steady, slow flow. So I'm looking at some point, what's been causing price to go down? Well, a lot of it has been Mt. Gox selling and US government selling and so on. So we don't even necessarily need buyers to step in for price to go up. We need sellers to slowly run out of ammo, which is going to happen at some point. And it could happen here. I mean, this looks like a good place on the chart to try along, right? So let's go and let's look a little bit closer. So if we look closer, we see, I know I was thinking, and everybody was thinking, how many times have we knocked on the support right here? If this level goes, it's a possibility that we go much lower, right? But what ends up happening is we take this level and we're having a pretty sharp move upwards, right? Immediate reaction. Same thing on ETH, we actually front ran it. So what is likely now? Well, it's likely that we come at least up here at a minimum. At a minimum. I'm saying it's likely. I'm not saying it's for sure. We also have to look at, by the time you're seeing this, you'll know better than me, but non-farm payroll is coming up, and that could bring some volatility and also could bring reversal to the downside. Here we're saying, okay, a little squeeze candle happened here, um, which could be interpreted as bearish just from looking at the 1 minute. But where are we on the chart? We haven't really taken anything, so considering we took the lows, it's likely we take at least something. I mean, I said the minimum there. I guess the minimum would be maybe here. We also don't need to get there at all, but it seems more likely than not. What else did we see here? This candle had a huge amount of volume on it. I don't have a footprint chart, but I would bet you a lot of that is breakout, excuse me, both breakout shorts down here and stops. But when price immediately is or quickly is back above this, it takes all this volume to push price and it failed, right? So that's the marking of price going higher. Now, what is interesting, and I saw this move happen, and something that was interesting is this white line is the old level, right? I know that a lot of people, the way they trade it is as soon as price closes above this level, that's when they long as a swing failure. And as soon as price started to get above it, boom, had a pretty nice candle and has stayed above it. Another thing that's been interesting here is this candle, which has created a gap on some different time frames. A sweep of that caused the next move up, and something similar for ETH, or a sweep into that gap, has caused this next move up. Now, ETH is showing a lot of relative strength compared to Bitcoin. ETH did what? It actually didn't sweep the low. Another thing to look at, look at these little yellow arrows. What are those? Those are high volume candles, and those are something I like to have on my chart. It's any candle that has 10 times the normal volume. So we see 10 times the normal volume on this candle on ETH, 10 times the normal volume of this candle. Doesn't always, but oftentimes marks significant tops and bottoms. And marked this bottom, didn't mark this one. Not always. Marked bottom here, marked a bottom here. So that's something that I like to have on my chart, and I'm seeing it triggered. So Um, it's looking decent. Now, if we look at another thing that makes me think, okay, maybe we could go higher, and we'll go to Twitter for a moment and show you, but Ton gave a dip buy signal. What is that? Is when we took this low and we've gone higher. And Helium is a breakout signal, which is a long. And a couple of these, even though we're failing, just coming into the lows is some kind of a long signal or a suggestion of that downtrend might be over. So I'm saying on alts we're getting long signals, but no short signals. This could have given a short signal, but it's holding the breakout. So only long signals coming in. Another thing that we're seeing, if we look at Twitter, I retweeted all these, but I'm seeing so many of these. This person saying, okay, we're in anxiety. We see fear and greed at 22. This person's marking on the chart way down here at 44 or something, saying worst yield curve inversion than 2008. This is a straight down chart. This one was calling for the wick here. Um, this person's looking for price to come to the 40 something as well. All these people are looking at, here's a major sell signal, price going to 36K, 53 or 36. So what if this one's saying nothing but air until 43K? So that's something that I like to look at, is seeing the negative consensus, which we're seeing negative consensus. So what did I do is I positioned myself long, like so. May or may not work, but I've got my stop at the low, and I've got my stop at the low. I would like my long position on ETH to have been bigger, but I did what I could with what I had, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work. It also would have been nice just to limit right in here and get in here at 55, 345 and just be riding it up that way and stop to break even already, but I'm yeah, I'm letting it run for now. And really, these are the best setups, and I could book a win already, and it might be worth doing. I'm gonna be asleep for 8 hours, so we'll see what happens. As for targets, I'm targeting not just to take one high, but to take two highs on ETH. No, maybe I'm only, yeah, I think my target on ETH was for two highs right here. Because if this is a major reversal, we should take more than two. If we get to here, my stop would at least break even. And then for Bitcoin, I'm interested actually in a major market reversal. Because if we start to come back in here at all, people will notice we're back in the range. And we should actually possibly go to 66K, although as it is, I have my TP at 61,200 just above this range, and I have limits here and here that I'm not necessarily in love with. I don't really like shorting Bitcoin, but um, yeah, it's working. I was a little bit slow to get in, but I did get in, and it's looking like for now, at least this whole move will reverse, and it might reverse again to the downside, but um, yeah, it's looking good, and as of right now, I'm kind of glad I stayed up to watch this and to get this entry. It's possible it could have been predicted, and I should have just had could have just had this limit order and saved the stress. Also, I watched this happen, and I wasn't interested in getting in until price was holding above that level that I had marked, the low. At which point, yeah, I'm just getting in somewhere in this range. Although a limit order on a pullback to here also could have been nice to get a even better entry. But if we reverse this whole sell-off, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, ETH BTC is looks good. Looks pretty good for continued upside. So happy trading, and yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Peace.